Let's start with the arraignment today of Gerard Loeffner and the right-wing gun talk that won't quit. MSNBC political analyst David Korn writes for Mother Jones, and Eric Bellart is a senior fellow for Media Matters. I want to start with Eric. Let's take a look right now. Here's what conservative, I guess is one word, and columnist Hugh Hewitt said this morning in the Washington Examiner, quote, led by Oberman, Paul Krugman, and a few others, many on the left attempted to link the violent actions of an insane killer to conservative political rhetoric and goals some on the left, like NBC's Chris Matthews, doubled down. What do you make of that? Here's Congressman Giffords, by the way. She was among the first to point to the danger this rhetoric has, even before the horrors struck. She has to deal with her injuries, of course, now, while we have to listen to more and more of this gun talk from the right, including Glenn Beck. Here's a sampling of some of his television and radio appearances where he brings guns and shooting into the conversation. We start with a Beck message to, quote, the liberal media. Let's listen.
The radicals that you in Washington have co-opted and brought in wearing sheep's clothing change the pose. You get the ends. You've been using them? They believe in communism. They believe and have called for revolution. You're going to have to shoot them in the head. But warning, they may shoot you. They're dangerous because they believe. Karl Marx is their George Washington. You will never change their mind. And if they feel you've lied to them, they're revolutionaries. Nancy Pelosi, those are the people you should be worried about. And for those of you in the administration who are coming after me on this one, I mean, remember, you've broken 3. Let's not make it 4. Thou shalt not kill.
America is waking up. You know, the American Revolution took place with 12% of the population. 12. You telling me there's not 30% of this population that you will have to shoot me in the forehead before I let somebody into my house to tell me how to raise my children? You will have to shoot me in the forehead before you take away my gun. You will have to shoot me in the forehead before I acquiesce and be silent.
You can try to put the lid on this group of people, but you will never silence us. You will never. You can shoot me in the head. You can shoot the next guy in the head. But there will be 10 others that line up. And it may not happen today. It may not happen in next week. But freedom will be restored in this land. Period. And no matter what you want to call it, it is a totalitarian state that you're headed towards.
Well, there you have the paranoia of the right, Eric, writ large, talking about they're coming to get you with their guns. They're going to shoot you in the head. You've got to shoot these radicals in the head. And there we have, of course, this head shooting. I mean, I'm not saying anybody said pull the trigger, but this is so incendiary, this language. It just keeps going and going. You would think somebody would stop and say, you know, let's take a breather. Yet there you got Hugh Hewitt out there saying, keep it up. Yep. Keep up the gun talk. Keep talking about guns and shooting people in the head. And it's so graphic.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
What violent rhetoric? After the Arizona shooting, there was this debate sparked about violent rhetoric and what was the right-wing response? What was the Fox News response? We don't do violent rhetoric. We don't do anything out of the ordinary. We don't do anything liberals didn't talk about during the Bush years. And you just played a small clip about what this is really about. This is incendiary and it's relentless and it's a demonization of people. And after Arizona, they have doubled down. The excuse now is this doesn't cause anything, and folks on the left are trying to censor us. We have the right to use this kind of gun talk, this paranoid fantasy. This is what we believe, so why shouldn't we talk about it? Utterly unconcerned about the consequences at this point.
I think people should watch this show again at 7 and catch this, just to catch this again. Listen to this rant of this guy. Shoot in the head, shoot in the head. They're coming to shoot you in the head. You got to shoot them in the head, the radicals in Washington. It feeds on paranoia. They're coming to get me. It's like the old thing about they're broadcasting out of my teeth, that old weird thing. Now, you're laughing, Eric, but this is getting crazy.
I think the key thing is a word that Eric just used. demonization. It's not just violent rhetoric, but he's out there, Glenn Beck and others, saying that Barack Obama has a secret plan, in essence, to destroy America. Not that he's wrong in policy, but he wants to destroy America.
What's this coming to shoot you in the head thing?
He wants to kill 10% of the population. He wants to set up FEMA camps. Glenn Beck has either advanced or, all these conspiracy ideas. So then when you tie that to the violent rhetoric, it gives people the pretty obvious solution that they should.
Well, I just wonder, I want to get the motive here, because obviously everybody on television and radio obviously would like to have a larger audience. I don't even think that's worth talking about. But is that going to get you a larger audience talking about this? Why would somebody be more likely to listen or watch you if you're saying they're coming to you with guns to shoot you in the forehead? He's very specific about this. You've got to shoot them in the head first. I mean, this is almost, well, it sounds crazy. I mean, it does sound, I don't know if it's crazy, but it does sound, if you said somebody out there, a loony was talking about this with a gun talk like this, you'd say that's how loonies talk.
Right.
Wouldn't you?
This is sort of the militia media. I mean, this is the dark conspiracies. It was around during the Clinton years in the New World Order, but you had to sort of gather around the CB radio to exchange this sort of nutty talk. Now you turn on, Fox News, or you flip on AM talk radio. It has been completely mainstream during the Obama years, and
Why
there's
are they
going to
defending
be
it, Eric?
obvious consequences when you mainstream.
Why is Hugh Hewitt out there saying, don't let people like Tom Coburn, the conservative but respected guy from Oklahoma, saying, cool it on this kind of lingo, left and right. Why would a guy like Hugh Hewitt say, we got to keep this up? He's saying, if we don't have this right-wing rant going, we won't be there to protect you conservatives when the time comes. Let me ask David that.
Well, I think the enemy is my friend. I mean, I know Hugh Hewitt, and he doesn't use the same language that Glenn Beck does.
Why is he defending him?
I think because the enemy is my friend. He's on my side. They see this in a very polarized
Why do they
fashion.
reserve the right to talk about guns and their hatred of government together? Why do they reserve the right to put those thoughts together?
Because it sells and it plays off the resentment.
How does it sell?
Look at the audience. Look at the money Glenn Beck is making. Listen, there was a guy last summer, Byron Williams, who was arrested on the way to the Tides Foundation, where he wanted to kill people. Why? Because Glenn Beck had targeted the Tides Foundation as being the epicenter of this conspiracy against America because they're progressives. So this talk has real-world consequences, and it's only a matter of time before it gets even uglier.
Let's take the gun piece of this. I'm not going to talk gun control right now, although I do think it's a good time to be talking about it. Let me go to you, Eric, on this. We have this guy, Louis Gohmert. He's a birther, so you can get the whole picture. They always want full context. He's a birther. He thinks the president wasn't born here. He's illegitimately sitting in the White House. He ought to be hanged, taken out, and arrested, or whatever, taken out of the country, deported, because he shouldn't be here. That's his belief system. So full context to Congressman Gohmert there. They always want full context. He's a birther. He thinks the president wasn't born here. He's illegitimately sitting in the White House. He ought to be hanged, taken out, and arrested, or whatever, taken out of the country, deported, because he shouldn't be here. That's his belief system. So full context to Congressman Gohmert there.
The feeling most people get when they hear a Barack Obama speech, I felt this thrill going up my leg. I mean, I don't have that too often.
Steady.
No, seriously.